What if you could skip years of trial and error in your songwriting and fast forward to the steps that actually work? Hey, I'm Danny and I've written over 1,000 songs over the past 12 years. And some of them have been great and some of them, well, haven't been so good. And whilst I wish I could have fast forwarded past those mistakes and gone to the stuff that works, and I know I can't go back, but I can save you all of the effort and wasted time that I endured. So today, in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 biggest tweaks and changes that I made to my songwriting to completely transform the songs that I was writing. And what I'm going to share with you will allow you to write songs faster, easier, and without ever having to feel stuck again. Hey now, as I say, I'm Danny from Songwriters International. We help songwriters develop their craft by sharing tips, tricks, and techniques on all things songwriting so that you can go and write your best possible songs. So let's dive into the first thing that I've learned after writing 1,000 songs. And this is a simple 2-step melodic process. Now, first of all, the 2 melodies that you need to know are called static and disjunct. And I guarantee you, if you implement these correctly, you'll be well on your way to writing your best possible songs in the next few days. So let's first of all look at a static melody. Now, a static melody is a melodic movement that is designed to not move very much. It typically stays on the same note, and that's why they work so well for a verse. It's because the verse is designed to tell a story, so we accompany that with a nice static melody that is focusing on the story and not the melodic movement. Now, a simple example of a static melody is something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And then we have disjunct melodies, which are a complete contrast to that of a static melody. Now, a disjunct melody has noticeable leaps between each note within the melody and doesn't stay on the same note for more than 1 or 2 words within a chorus typically. Disjunct melodies are great for choruses, that moment where you're wanting people to sing back. That's where we're going to use these. So let me give you an example of a disjunct melody. 1, 2, 3, 4. So hey, why don't you just give me your love? No, I don't know why I can be no why. Whoa, oh, 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 la 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 la. And then if we put those 2 melodies together, you'll see how it's very simple to create contrast and have songs that are melodically moving and engaging with your listeners. Now, the second biggest thing that I've learned is what I call a 40,000 foot view, keeping the big picture in mind. Now, a common problem that I used to make, and also I see having coached thousands of songwriters today, is getting so caught up in the process, in the details of your song, and not actually taking a step back and seeing the 40,000 foot view of your track. So what I started to implement into my own songs, and what I suggest, is to take a step back out of the song. Now, this has to be done no later than halfway through the song, which is typically going to be your chorus. And simply take a step back, like I say, and ask yourself these types of questions. Does the story actually make sense? Is the narrative or theme flowing well and making sense from start to finish? Or an alternative question you can ask, is the story evolving from section to section? Each section of the song should feel like it's leading to the next. The lyrics or melody should evolve and not repeat. Now, the simplest way for me to actually demonstrate this is to give you an example. So let's take the idea of going on holiday, going from a cold place to a warm place, and the warmth and happiness that you feel when you go and do that. So we got some draft lyrics for the verse. I can't wait to get on the plane and feel the heat on the other side hit my face. So that's the sentiment of the chorus, is that boarding of the plane. You can't wait for the heat and the excitement that you're feeling when you get there. And if you go into the chorus now and start saying something like, I just want to feel the sunshine. It's better than the sweetest wine. In this particular draft example, the verse and the chorus are too similar. They're both focusing on the sunshine, the warmth, the happiness that you feel, and they're not really dissecting the song into sections. If we took that same song example and said that the chorus is just all about you can't wait to feel the sunshine, it's better than the sweetest wine, and you're so excited, perhaps then verse 1 is talking about the countdown and the days that you've got left before you actually embark on the journey. Verse 2 could then be talking about coming home and the disappointment and sadness that you feel. You see how that very simply evolves and tells the listener at different points a different story. Now, into the third thing that I've learned. If you don't like something, ask yourself why rather than throwing it away. Now, a great song is very often written in the rewrite. It's never written in the first sit down of the session. And I cannot stress to you enough that you should not be throwing away your work until you actually understand what it is that's missing for you that's leading you to not like what you've written. When you're stuck with a melody or a lyric that isn't quite hitting the mark, actually ask yourself why. Is the lyric too basic? Is the melody too similar to the verse? Does it lack emotional impact and not really resonate with your listeners in the way that you want it to? Being able to pinpoint the problem will allow you to actually become a better songwriter. And by solving the problem, you won't have to face it again in any future sessions. So let's do an example of this, and we're going to write a verse melody. So let's suppose for the example, this is draft 1, the first melody that we've come up with, and it sounds something like this. I don't know, but every time that I've been dun 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 dun, yeah. I dun 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 dun. Now, let's suppose for this example, we don't like that melody. It's not quite landing for us. So for this example, let's just suppose it's too wordy. It's got too many words. Perhaps then let's change the amount of space or the amount of words that we have within that verse. So we could do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been thinking all the time, and I don't know, but better I had to try. Now you can see in those two examples, one was a little bit more wordy, had more words, more increased amount of syllables, versus that second version was less wordy, had more space, and more chance for the listener to breathe. And what we are doing here is problem solving, rather than just throwing a song away. And you can do this process at the beginning of a session, halfway through the session, at the very end. Identify the problem, solve it, and I guarantee you will thank yourself later on. Into the fourth thing that I've learned, and it is that collaboration is key. Let me give you an incredibly powerful step. Only 16 solo written songs have gone to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 songs since 2000. Which is absolutely incredible. And it goes to show the power of collaboration. You cannot beat getting into a room with another songwriter, producer, and actually jamming out the idea and having that moment to be able to bounce ideas off. And working with other people will benefit you for multiple reasons, but let me share with you some of the biggest reasons. #1, you're going to have someone that you have to have permission from to actually put the idea into the song. If you're writing on your own, you've got no gatekeeper. You've got no one to bounce the idea off to say, hold on, let's try this. #2, it's going to allow you to just be a better songwriter. You're going to watch how someone else does it, pick up on things, and then be able to put that into your own craft. And finally, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to get a better song out of a collaboration session. This stat actually proves it, but I also know that from my own experience. If you're writing with people that you get along with, you know that you work well with, I guarantee you'll get a better song out of the session every single time versus doing it on your own. And into the fifth thing that I've learned with my songwriting, the 2 most important parts of a song: melody and lyrics. Now you may be saying, Danny, but what about structure and rhyme and chords and production? I can appreciate all of those things are very important in the process, but they don't come as close to the importance of that of melody and lyrics, and here's why. Melody itself is the hook. It's the hook that's going to catch the listener's attention. It's the part of the song that's going to get people singing back. If you want your song to be a big anthem, the only way we're going to do that is through repetitive, hooky melodies. Then if you want a story in your song, you guessed it, the only way we can do that is through lyrics. And we all, the songwriters, want songs to be catchy, hooky, repetitive, earwormy to the listeners. And you want a story that evolves and actually tells a story for our listeners from start to finish. That's why those 2 parts are so crucial. And into a few years writing, I remember asking myself this exact question. What can I focus my attention on that's going to move my songs forward the most? And that's where I stumbled across, like I say, the melody and lyrics. So focus your attention on the things that are actually going to move your song along the best. And if I had known these earlier, I guarantee it would have saved me so much time, effort. And that's why I want to save you that time, effort, and mistakes that you are most likely making with your craft. So now you know the things that I've learned after writing 1,000 songs over the past 12 years, but I also want to walk you through my entire songwriting process from A to Z and how these pieces actually come together to the songwriting process. So somewhere around here you'll see the video that I put together on how I write a song, the complete process. I literally walk you through it A to Z so that you can go and implement these techniques into a process, write your best possible songs with a streamlined professional approach that I've defined after working with so many big labels, artists, and having amassed millions of plays on songs that I've written. So go ahead, hit that video somewhere around here, and I'll see you over there.